So if you haven't noticed by now, with the title, converting this thing to run on a bunch of my waste oil that we get off transmission rebuilds. And I've got like 70 gallons of it, plus I've been giving it away, so that this will run on it. And I've been doing so on a blend. I talk about how I got there and why I was doing it. And then I'll get into all the other stuff I'm going to do with this car, including paint it. And we'll doll this thing up and make it run like a champ, give it some horsepower, increase its horsepower and torque, and make it look nicer, make it a good little ride. Nice little solid car, actually. Let's get started. Well, I meant to start this video before I machined this stuff, and I'm going to show here in a little bit that what I'm making is an oil filter system for my waste oil. This is going to sit underneath here. It's threaded. I'll get a smaller piece that threads on there. I just finished threading it. And a smaller piece, of course, that'll make it come up against here. And the oil will go through here off our hand filtered oil, and then I will have another NPT pipe threaded piece here. And what did I use here? Can't read it, can't see it, but anyway. And that's going to go here. That will spot out. And this is going to go into a collection bucket for use in the car. So I will explain what we're doing here in just a sec. I do have a little bit more threading to do, so I'm going to chuck this back up. So this is a 1982 Mercedes diesel 240D. And here are some things that I will be doing with it here soon. I bought this for the engine, which I'm going to use, of course, for running diesel. And it was actually a really decent running vehicle. Since I've been driving it on diesel only, it's been doing really well. It's got 196,000 miles on it. It did run with veggie before on to some degree. I don't know how many miles. And that being said, obviously some of you know I rebuild transmissions, and we have right now about 70 gallons worth of waste oil. And a buddy of mine, Chris, runs his big boom truck off of waste oil. And I thought, well, I kind of want to do that because I sure have a shitload of it. So that's what I'm doing. And I am not messing with the ALDA on here. This is the for your altitude adjustment. I'm not changing anything because it runs really well. I did change the oil and change the oil filter. I'm fixing to change the fuel filter here and here, and then I am going to turbocharge this because that's what I do. And I've learned pretty much how I need to do it and how I want to refuel it, and that's the important part. So I'm hoping that when it's all said and done, I will be able to do just that. I will probably, to simplify things, run the pipe off the exhaust and bring the turbo up front so that I can adjust some valves that I will have related to enrichment. This IP will stay the same. The injection pump will stay not messed with. It runs very well. I have IT gauge I'll be putting on. Exhaust gas temperature gauge, EGT, so I can see where it's at now. And so far engine temperature has been really good, and everything runs quite well, and we're going to go from there. So what I'm doing now is building the filtration system for this engine. So to avoid too many problems, I decided to come up with I may even do a dual filter system. I'm using a regular pump. I'll show that later. I bought out of O'Reilly's, and that will push it through. And just to clean it up as much as I can. There's a lot of particulates in waste oil. We're careful to not have water in it, and then if it is, of course, it separates out anyway. We have magnets that will pick up any of the metal that we have, and a lot of that settles. So we and plus we filter it in with some paint thinners for now, or paint strainers for automotive paint, which is pretty fine and catches a lot of bigger stuff. And then there's a lot of brass and bronze material that gets in transmissions, and that is what this is for. Some of that floats in the oil, and I don't want it getting in here. Not that we have a lot, but it's there, so hopefully this will eliminate that, and I'll be checking it out in the sunlight, and you can certainly see the bronze material in the oil when you put it out in the light, and I'll show you that as well. So the whole idea is I have a lot of oil and I want to use it. I may run straight at some point. Right now I'm going to do 2 gallons of diesel to 3 gallons of my waste oil, and I may even reduce that to 1 to 4. We'll see how the first batch really goes. That's clean, and how it acts on my fuel filters, and how many miles I get before I get a sense for that maybe being an issue. It may not. I don't know. We'll find out. But that's my goal. That's what I wanted this for. I've got a lot of fuel, and that brings me down to about $1.50 to $2, maybe even $1.80 per gallon. And or if I run it straight, which my buddy does, then it's free, or I'm being paid to get rid of that oil. And most of us have to sell it. And I do have 2 other shops in town that I can get quite a bit of oil from, should I run out. So we'll see. That's the whole idea. The turbocharging is a whole different thing, and you do have to be careful, and you do have to pay attention to the EGT. So I'm going to do some baseline testing, get some data, and I have adjustments for my fueling, and I'll explain all that later. In the meantime, I'm going to finish this up.